gamers. How was that?
That's pretty good. I'll give you a 7 out of 10.
7? Oh, you can do it better then?
Nah.
Not on the
I'll
spot.
keep it for another day, another time.
Okay.
Are you ready for our next match, though?
I am actually ready for this. I am a big Myriad fan, but at the same time, we've been here for Cats Rising. He's taken down the liking of Core. This is a shout out to Cole. Cat, your rival, making it all the way here. And he's gonna go and take down Myriad, or try to, at least. I don't know. Myriad seems like the kind of guy who knows how to control the animals around him. So
you're saying he's gonna tame him?
I feel
He's a
like
wild
Cat might get tamed.
So yeah, what do you think about this one? Byzantine versus Delhi.
As a player who's absolutely
You're Byzantine
awful.
main. I heard you beat a professional StarCraft 2 player with it.
I did actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So with Byzantines, I feel like the big strength of theirs is Mangonel Towers, and if you get to that point, most players look at it and they're like, what do I do now? But I feel like at this level, we do not have these conversations. They see that thing and they're just like, okay, I can just go for a different angle, actually, and I do not need to die.
Yeah, I actually don't gotta attack into it.
Yes, exactly. It's like the keep, being the gold player magnet. It's
like Berkshire in Gold League.
Exactly. You put the Berkshire there in the middle of the map on top of a hill. It looks really cool.
The opponent's brain just fries up and he's like, I guess I'll just lose everything into it.
I gotta bring that guy down. And who's taking the win? Is it on Civ draft or is it on skill?
I think it's a pretty 50-50. I think both players can win. Like Byzantine can win, Delhi can win. I personally prefer Delhi because it's more mobile, but I think Byzantine has obviously stronger army, and you know, whether you go javelins or longbows, or if you're trolling, if you go Keshiks. Biz has stronger army on paper and better economy transition, but Delhi, I think, has better timings, and having, you know, Ghazi Raiders running around into elephants is pretty strong. So it's a very timing-based matchup where if it gets to a point with 5 elephants, you might be in trouble, but you can also get some really good engages with Byzantine.
So that's exactly what I saw from other players as well. With the Delhi, you have this very unique timing, and if you make that timing, you just overwhelm your opponent completely. But with Byzantines, if you miss your window, or if you just lose your army a smidge too early or a smidge too late, then building up that mass is quite impossible against a civilization that's a powerhouse like Delhi.
It's a destruction if that happens. I mean, we've seen it already in one of my games where it looks even, and then one fight, and it completely changes. And this is one of those matchups where, like you said, it can just swing completely to either side. So we'll see what the players opt for. I feel like both sides can play this both aggro and making some units into fast castle. Byzantine does not have to move out super fast because the pro scouts from Delhi will be delayed because their upgrades take longer. So they can both kind of play some units into fast castle. They both commit to full feudal aggression. That's kind of, I feel like, players' playstyle more so than what's better.
Now, what I really like to see from these two civs is the fact that we don't have any Dark Age action, which just tells me I'm here for a good time. I want to see some fuel action. I want to see what the decision is here with pro scouts, because I know Byzantine's obviously not one of those civilizations, but Delhi, on the other hand, they also don't need to rush anything. The Ghazi Raider provides that's such a powerful push forward, but we've seen Delhi against pro scouting civs, and I don't feel like we've seen a lot of Delhi against the others, the rest of them. Does Byzantine ever go pro scouts in this meta?
I don't know. I've tested it quite a bit, and it seems good, but it's also like, why wouldn't I just make farms instead of that? And I think in general, when you go pro scout with Byzantines, you kind of are not making as many mercenaries because you're not focusing on berries. So then you're kind of just playing a civ without mercenaries, which is the whole kind of point of Byzantine. They're very strong units. So there's been some testings around it, but I feel like in general, it's probably better to just stick with berries, maybe try to deny some of the pro scouting and just kind of play that way.
I'm learning by the moment, and I'm learning that both of these players going for the 4 age up, but nothing out of the ordinary here. Myriad making sure that that wood income is looking solid, but he's pulled off of gold completely. So once we see Byzantine... Oh, never mind. The villagers just were bugged there on top of it. I thought we have none on gold, but no, guys. Myriad, he has some villagers on gold there. Don't worry. He's getting his upgrades. No crazy shenanigans just yet. So Nothing
They're
out
in
of the
stealth
ordinary
right
for me.
now.
They're in stealth? Yeah.
So
Not,
it's,
not
a,
in
it's a
vision.
new update. So yeah, pretty standard so far. The sheep count, I mean, honestly, in this matchup doesn't matter too much. Oh, they're still missing 7. That's crazy. You know, Byzantine is fine with like 5 or 6. You're not super dependent on them. You don't want to be with 0, but you're not super dependent at the same time. Delhi is probably the one that wants to get more sheep, and in this case, Cat definitely got more of them so far. So I think the moment we see the ages going up, we'll see what their plan is in the actual game. And we see Cat has like a very wallable base, like very wallable. If he played like a defensive civ, this would be a great spawn. Simply because those wood lines and just the way the cliffs are working, he can wall that super easily. But yeah, we'll see what their plan is. I'm assuming there's going to be stable no matter what his choice is, and from then on, we get to see what Byzantine mercenaries will see.
And I think that's just the power of Delhi, right? With the stable, you have your hard counters with the limited name, but I feel like the Ghazi Raider just provides that high level of mobility, just like any horseman, except they have maces and they look really cool. And I don't know, that's my whole point of Delhi in this case.
They're pretty cool.
And they produce so fast because there's a scholar inside that stable, and that's what I absolutely love about them. So you see, as Beasty says, putting down that stable at speed of light, scholar ready to put himself into that stable, producing at the speed of light. Resources are ready for it. He's ready to get that pressure, but Myriad, he's already answered. He has a limited out. He doesn't want to deal with those Ghazis going all over the map. What we see, the pro scouts has been clicked for Cat and prioritizing that over the other things coming from the mill. So we know that Myriad is going to need to make a play to deny that eventually, because Delhi, they do take their time.
Yeah, what's interesting is he's putting 8 on wood now. I'm not sure if he's going to keep rallying there, because you need a lot more on food to have consistent Ghazi production. And on the other side, Myriad has 3 on gold, because he's getting wheelbarrow and he has 160 gold more. So I'm pretty sure that is 3 on gold, which means he's going to be getting a lot of eco upgrades, potentially slowly moving to that fast castle. We see some Ghazis, but very defensive actually, not rallying them across the map. So he's just kind of keeping them here for now. I'm not sure if that's a misrally or he's worried about something, but very soon we'll see the option of Cat. The next kind of thing he should be doing is going to be an archer range, and we see longbow choice, so not javelins, but going for longbows instead.
Oh, my question is, and I think a lot of Twitch chat might be thinking the same thing, when do you go longbows versus going javelins? Because in this case, what I'm thinking about is the camel superiority, especially when playing in something like Delhi once you get there, right? But Myriad might not be thinking about going to castle. No?
So, javelins versus longbows in this matchup specifically, I feel like javelins are probably better if you want to commit to fighting, especially against, like in this matchup against Delhi. So if your plan is to fight the sacred sides, make sure they don't take them, I think javelins are better. Long-term longbows are a lot easier to use, so you don't have to perfectly micro them like javelins to get their value. So they're a lot easier to use. You get lens connect after, and you get to be very good against men-at-arms and stuff. But yeah, not having camel riders later on is kind of a bit of a problem against lancers and elephants. So it's kind of like a trade-off. It depends what your style is. And generally, longbows tend to be better for fast castle instead of javelins.
I can see that happening. That makes a lot of sense. And now what I want you guys to notice is this is a Ghazi army that's taking damage. And this is why I think Beasty also mentioned with the Ghazi standing still, it's not usually what we see coming out of players. Because when your Ghazis are standing still, they're not providing that pressure, making your opponent run around, get a little bit of idle time on the villagers, and they don't mind taking a little bit of damage because we've got unlimited healing from the Delhi Sultanate. Those units are going to go home and they're going to get a heal back to full once they stand next to all those religious men about to capture those sacred sites slowly as we see the upgrade finishing.
Yeah, we see Pro Scout finishing too. We'll see how quick Cat is going to be on that, if he's going to pounce on that, if you will. But he should try and get it as fast as possible, because you don't want to be pro scouting in the middle of getting attacked. You kind of want to pro scout as fast as you can, so you can kind of get that out of the way and make sure you have food secured under your TC. But from what I'm seeing right now, Cat is fully committing, And I think he stopped mining gold because he has 0 income per minute, no scholars in production. So I think he's just going to commit to a lot of feudal units. And on the other side, Myriad, we see a little bit of food building up. He's getting +1 ranged attack. He's going out a little bit, maybe try to deny those sacred sites. And after, he'll still have the option to age up if he wants to.
And that's pretty interesting because Cat now actually started to queue up some scouts. Before this, he was on 1 scout the whole time, taking his time. And now we see with that tower from Myriad, he's unsure about what the plan is here from Cat. But that tower just provides you with a little bit of defense to respond. And now getting an extra 1 on gold tells me, are we trying to do a responsible castle based on the movements of my opponent?
Yeah, and right now we see, so usually at this point as Delhi, you go for the just triple sacred site, you just kind of send it. But he actually only captured 1 and is now just going for another. We're going to see 1 will go down here, so nice little pick off. So he only captured 1 sacred site, and if I'm Myriad, I'm probably pretty happy with this situation. My opponent is on 1 sacred site. I mean, okay, he took 1 villager loss, but this could have been a triple sacred site sticking already, so he will try to deny that, and longbows will not be able to pick the scholar off, but he gets him away from sacred site, so he delays that a little bit. And if we look at the food income for Myriad and the food count, it looks like he's slowly going to go into castle. We saw that tower like you mentioned, and he is rallying onto the gold if I'm not mistaken. Yep, so he is looking like he wants to just age up and take the game from there.
Now, with the sacred site timer not ticking, you don't feel that intense pressure of actually shutting them down so quickly. You don't worry about the Delhi getting all those free resources just by doing absolutely nothing. But Myriad now, he keeps making units, and this is what I call responsible castling. You keep making your units consistently when you know your opponent is too. You move out, you put a little bit of pressure down, but at the same time, you think about what's ahead. I'm not going to fully commit to this, but I do want to push back and delay my opponent. I want him to have to keep making units, because what Myriad is doing right now, he keeps putting a heavy amount of pressure on the map, and at the same time, he's slowly thinking about what's next for himself too. Well, Cat, on the other hand, he's just, you can see, there's a lot of guys he's in queue. He's spending every bit of resource he has. Now, this is risky for Myriad, because at some point, the Delhi army is going to be quite spicy. And the question is just, would he be able to hold the moment he gets castle? Because Cat's going to attack the moment Myriad clicks that button.
Yeah, and we see the 3rd sacred site is a little bit to the west, like closer to Myriad's base. So, still no attempt from Cat to capture that, which is a bit weird, because even if Myriad comes out, you can just run away. You're fighting infantry units, so you can just kind of run away. But like I said, I think if you're Myriad, you're pretty satisfied with how this is going. He probably is going to try to age up pretty quickly. And once he does that, yeah, there's going to be that attack from Cat where he's like, oh, you aged up, let me do a big push with the units that I have. And in this position, I feel like with that, he has double tower TC. He should be able to hold the big push, and especially with longbows, I feel like this is where they're a lot better than javelins, because javelins have a slow attack speed. They're harder to micro, where longbows you can just kind of kite around your TC and do as much damage as possible. But we see more units being queued up from Cat, pro scouting doing work, and he's just kind of posturing left and right. Still no attempt at the left sacred side. Kind of wonder why he just doesn't attempt it. And we see Golden Horn Tower coming up right now. We'll see how many villagers he'll put on it. Looks like a 10 total.
Now the question is just, does Myriad have the food to actually sustain after this push happens? Because yes, he's getting his whole Golden Horn Tower. He's going to need a little bit of time to get those upgrades to kick in. And while they don't take too long, Cat is also thinking about castle. So when Myriad ages up, Cat, usually in a civilization, if you've invested most of your stuff, you want to make sure that you actually attack, but Cat himself is thinking about castle himself. Does spot that tower standing out there all alone, Limitine being quite annoying, I must say, but the army count is so different here for Cat, and keeping in mind, it does contain a lot of scholars. That's still a massive difference and can be very scary the moment this age up comes through.
Yeah, I feel like Cat's position right now is, you know, he is putting the pressure. You can see Myriad is playing very defensive, running with a lot of idle, while at the same time, you know, like you said, Cat is aging up. He's not very far behind it, so all the upgrades Myriad will get, Cat will get him for free very soon. And if this becomes fight around relics, Cat should definitely be the one that's taking most of them since he has so many scholars already. Varangian guards are now coming, and this is the part where it kind of gets awkward for Byzantine because you kind of want to be on the map to take the berries, or you want to transition to farms, but if you do that, you might get completely outmassed by the Byzantine player.
Yeah, you lose so much tempo when you actually start to go on farms and you have to build them. You know, you're investing those resources into the inevitable, amazing food source you have. But now with Cat aging up, he doesn't feel too confident taking this fight because keep in mind, those upgrades are kicking in. And as I say that, they've kicked in. And now this army is upgraded. Those longbows are of the veteran variety, so them pushing out, they're going to be a little bit spicy to handle for a Delhi that has to wait for their upgrades to take a long time. Two prelates going down quickly after one another, and it doesn't look like those archers want to be fighting Limited A either. Never mind. Just as I say that, they decide to turn around and fire back.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. It's very much a matchup of timings, and right now Byzantine needs to do something, like not win the game or kill villagers, but at least reduce the Delhi unit count, maybe kill off some archers, because once the upgrades come in, I mean, he has double army supply almost. Even though there's some scholars, they're still doing a lot of work. We see relics being taken, 3 right now coming back in. Will wall a lot to kind of block him from going into that area, but that is just a massive army right there from the Senor Meow.
And this is the same story as what we have with English. Sometimes when you move out with those longbows, they just struggle to get back. He does pick off so many units, but this can be tragic for Myriad if Cat controls this right. The Limited is on the elephant. It looks like there's a lot of attention focused on it. The archers target firing those Limited themselves, and they do take a little bit of a punch. Varangian guards also on the elephant. You can see the longbows trying to kill it at the same time. Gazi Raiders, they do a little bit of damage while standing there on the backline. Elephant does eventually go down, but the army mass from Myriad has been slowed down, and Byzantines, even though they have the oil, they do take a while to max this army out again. The longbows are trying to pick off as much as they can because this is still a scary army, and we can see more elephants coming. Myriad doesn't have the Limited to actually handle that when they do arrive.
Yeah, Myriad, I mean, it's funny to say because he's like losing the fight, but he had a lot better engage there. He had way less units and he won the fight, and that's kind of what longbows are about, right? They're very expensive, they're very slow, but they will be very strong in the main fights. And we see 37 archers, but Myriad is making full Varangian guards. So the only thing he needs is something for the elephants, and his army comp is very good against what Cat has. So if you look at the army count, it still looks very bad for Myriad, but it's in this case it's quality over quantity. He just needs to, like I said, he needs to find something for these elephants, and crossbows would probably be the best choice, because if you go Limitane, then you're just going to get absolutely butchered by the archers. So Sacred Sites are still active, by the way. That's something he definitely needs to work on, disable those, because they're giving him so much gold right now.
Now, the Sacred Site's ticking. It's just that little bit of resource that Cat doesn't have to worry about now. And yes, these longbows are doing an amazing job at killing them off. But we can see now the elephants, they're struggling by chasing behind, and the longbows are doing the best at kiting right now. It's looking great, but look at those elephant charge in, and the Varangian guard looks like paper once he steps on top of him.
Yeah, he's choosing to go Limitane, which again, you know, they're great against elephants, but if there's this many archers, they're not going to do well. And Cat is just doing the good old mass elephant and mass archer combo, and this is where, like I said, crossbows shine quite a bit. Mir's doing a good job kiting, but when you're fighting in the middle of the map, this kind of thing, you're trading very well. But now when we're getting to his base, there's no place to kite, so you actually have to kind of stand and fight at this point.
It looks like Cat is in a good position, right? He's got the archers to pick off Slimitane that he keeps making. But keep in mind, that's a lot of longbows, and the kiting is absolutely phenomenal from Myriad here. He's target firing a lot of these archers. You can see him doing that now, maybe overstepping a little bit too much. Lunchknecht coming in, ooh, cleaning up that elephant, slicing him in half, they say. Longbows now get to focus fire on elephants too, and even though they're quite chunky, they've been taking a lot of damage. Myriad, though, he still has to be very careful. The army supply does not lie, and we have to be very careful when this happens. Which rivets, as were shown there by wonderful Askeladd, ensuring we know that those elephants are going to take a little bit more of a punch before they go down. Those longbows are not going to be able to actually deal with them that quickly, but look at Cat's resources. Cat is cooking. And I don't know if we would cook an Imperial. What do you get from going Imperial with Delhi at this point?
Everything. That's the
Everything?
best part. You get everything. Military upgrades, eco upgrades, university upgrades, OP elephants. You get absolutely everything. And he's got 18 scholars, so his upgrades are going to be super quick. And the thing about his cat's army, it's very, very tanky. So even losing one elephant is a big deal, but the archers are pretty cheap, right? And that's the only thing he was committing to. Pretty sure he is still not in the farm transition. Leipany has a lot of food, so this is the map where you can actually avoid farms for a super, super long time. And the age up is coming through, and I think this age up is going to be a very unpleasant and surprising experience for Myriad, because he's probably thinking like, oh, he's got a lot of armies pushing into me, I just gotta defend this. But seeing the age up come through at the same time, he's gonna force Myriad to have to do something, which is either commit, try to trade off the units, or maybe do some run-bys to try to get the food villagers on the map.
The thing is, Cat has such a sizable army for someone aging up, so with the Palace of the Sultan being built for 16 vills, you know, this man, he's committing to this. The elephants taking the front line here, the archers firing away. We see those scholars doing their best at healing absolutely everything up at the front that is on an elephant. These guys trying to kite their best. The longbows doing damage, but just not like before. Imperial Age is here, and this is where Myriad feels like he needs to commit. He knows, hey, you've just aged up. I've got a timing here where your units are going to be a little bit more squishy, but I don't know if this fight is something he can take anytime soon.
Yeah, and we're not seeing the Limitane shields turned on, so they're getting picked off super, super quick. The elephants are all kind of half HP, about to die, but not quite. We do see some crossbows, but they were getting picked off by Cat, so he's mitering there, target firing. Very active game, actually. Now, the reason why Cat can go Castle, or sorry, Imperial Hill here as he did is because the Sacred Sites have been online for probably about 10-12 minutes, and they're providing so much gold to him that he does not need to mine any gold, so he can actually just put basically like 40 villagers on food and maybe 20 on wood and sustain all this and sustain the edge up at the same time. So the Sacred Sites have been active for so long, and they're giving him so many free resources.
And I think that's usually the question most players ask. How is Delhi doing this? How does Delhi have an army like that and still push into my base? And just like you said, most of the time you don't realize how much value a Sacred Site can give you. Now the question is the food transition behind this. We saw Cat slowing down with food for a little bit, and I think this might just be because he was doing his own farm transition there with, well, Myriad setting up a few, trying to get some stone there, probably to get some emplacements or a keep himself. I just don't know where you would put that bad boy. Dealing with this massive an army now, Myriad fighting against an army very outnumbered at the moment, and he's just trying to kite and pick off as much as he can. The armored beasts upgrade coming in pretty soon, and that's going to be quite hard to handle because those things are going to take a lot more arrows to the body before they go down.
Yeah, and we see that incendiary arrows is going to be a big game changer. I mean, just the elite archer upgrades are going to do so much work. But incendiary arrows, once that completes, with the amount of archers he has, is just a massive DPS boost for his whole army. And we see Limitane just kind of going in one by one and just getting picked off. He's doing a very good job kiting back. He's chilling with the Sacred Sites. We still see that he's still on the bears on the map, so he's getting those. And even though the game is pretty active, you know, this might be one of those for Myriad where it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. You know, I was microing the whole game. I didn't take like super bad fights, and this is how the game turned out. And I think a lot of it comes to just Sacred Site control and getting so much passive income from those.
Yeah, but you can see with that army difference, this is looking scary. The elephants are charging forward now. The problem is those elephants are barely taking any hits. The crossbows on the front lines trying their best, but Myriad knows this is not the fight he wants to be taking. Myriad's those elephants about to get on top of his army. No more kiting for him. Myriad realizes, I need to try in the next game.
Wow, taking an esports water sip right there, if you will. And like I said, it might be one of those, like, nothing bad happened, so how did this go so wrong? But you know, not having the crossbows immediately, longbow kiting was very good, but if you're just shooting your longbows into the elephants with massive armor and then Cat's moving them back, maybe healing them up, this is kind of how it goes. And Delhi left untouched like that, controlling Sacred Sites. Rally count was 3-2, I believe, so it wasn't too bad, but in the end, feel like Cat just played pretty straightforward, you know, just attacking, fighting while controlling most of the map.
Now we can see with that military value lead, the Delhi just slowly increasing. And that's just the story of Delhi. I want you guys to also notice the APM Cat is a fast AF boy.
He's a fast cat.
Fast cat. Cat-like reflexes, if we may. Wow. Only
what kind of cat
relics.
would he be?
What kind of cat would it be?
Cat.
Cat.
Like a tiger.
Oh, I thought you meant like
cat.
Domestic types of cats. I don't know.
That.
I don't know. I feel like cat might be like a cheetah.
Damn.
He's fast AF, and I don't know if he has any spots, but
I was thinking about one of those like Egyptians hairless cats.
Really? That's how you associate him? He's elegant.
I don't know. That's just because he's fast. He's very aerodynamic.
He's fast. Okay. And Myriad, on the other hand, what animal would you associate him with?
Like a koala bear.
Yeah, he is kind of. He's he's nice and cuddly, but at the same time, he's got a strong identity.
Yeah, or like a drop bear.
A drop bear just falls out of the sky and ends you.
Yeah, those exist.
Yeah, I know. I actually thought they were just from like movies and stuff. But
yeah,
is that a type of bear, or was it just like an instance of bear?
Aren't they koalas?
Oh, I thought a drop bear is an actual
I actually don't
bear.
know, but it looks like a koala, kind of.
I feel like we've just
maybe like a panda.
Like a panda. But Myriad is a little bit faster than a panda. I think if you want to panda it up, we're going back to the old recon days of Age of Empires. But ladies and gents, that is exactly what we do over here on the stream. When Whamen and Beasty is on here, we go off the rails. The train has left the station. We have unknown map with HRE and French. As an HRE versus French pro, I feel like we need a little prairie and a burger in here, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah.
True.
French versus HRE, I think I've asked you this question IRL, but I think maybe Twitch chat also wants to know, how do those two match up against one another?
I mean, in my opinion, HRE should only lose to Rus, so I would say HRE should always win. But I do think that French versus HRE can get tricky for HRE. Like, if your chapel is forward, there's a massive difference than if your chapel is in the back. So it can be spawn dependent. The map is coastal, which actually I feel like chapel forward happens quite a bit. And I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like woodlands always spawn forward, or they spawn kind of to the side. And yeah, they never spawn in the back. So that means that you usually put a chapel on the wood line, and then the chapel is forward, so that can kind of get a little bit awkward. But in general, I think a lot of it comes down to feudal fighting and how well you can handle your pro scouting and stuff. And if you try to age up too quickly with HRE, you might get completely butchered.
I can see the early game working really, really well for HRE, just responding to the Knights pretty early on, because their cost is quite low, considering that your eco is so much stronger.
Yeah.
But the longer the game goes, French, with their extra, with them extra villagers producing a little bit faster, it does become a little bit harder to keep up as time goes on, because your chapel gets more and more exposed as you're chopping them trees, as the Knights are getting chonky, your spearmen aren't hitting like they used to. So, I don't know. I feel like as long as we see Cat using his Knights correctly, this might be quite hard for Myriad.
Yeah, I actually talked to some players, I think it was today or yesterday, about HRE versus French, and I said Minework's the way to go, and they just looked at me like, no, you go chapel. And I was like, Minework's pretty good.
We saw that from you yesterday, right?
Yeah, I did Minework with Malian, and even then some players were like, no, that's not good. And
Why?
I was like,
why do we go Minework? Because the prelate can inspire anyway, or?
So Minework is good only when the upgrades are usable in very good ways, the unique ones. And this is the matchup where you go Spearman Horseman. So if you get the +2 damage upgrade, you can actually get a lot of value. And the place where he put the barracks is a great spot for chapel. Actually, he has a chapel on the goldish between the woodlands, so that's fine too.
And this is a pretty good chapel. I just want to note that for a moment.
But it is. Where is it? Where is the chapel, though?
Where's the chapel? It's forward, but that early game we talked about, where you can maybe pick off a knight or two, get your eco going. I don't know. I feel like it's forward, but it's the best case scenario for this map, because it can be protected by very tiny walls, no knights rushing in from the sides too early on.
And we see both players getting the Beasty spawn,
Oof.
both goals in front, and I would say most of the time this does not matter for French because they're the ones that are aggressive, but if you are experiencing what he's about to experience, that is a big deal. And Cat, maybe knowing his opponent, he is actually mining gold with 6, and he's also getting the wheelbarrow. So not only he gets wheelbarrow, but he will also get enough gold to be able to age up, which is, the funny thing is, so this is the part of the scouting and just kind of understanding the game. Does Myriad now realize, okay, he clicks on the gold, he sees, okay, he mined this amount of gold, so he has enough for age up and a knight, but there's actually no knight. So if he misreads this, he might put spears defensively to defend against knight, but there is not even one coming. So Cat reading the game pretty well, getting the gold he needs, and gets out of there.
And you can see here Cat running around with quite a lot of sheep. The man is going to have some loot when he gets back. But what I'm a little bit worried about here is, oh, actually, I first want a few theory craft. Imagine now if Myriad spawned on the other side. That woodline and that gold, very, very exposed. But like you said, he's in control, or Cat's in control. He's going to be able to dictate that type of aggression, in theory. But where's he going to get the gold for that first night, though?
Oh, he's got the Beasty special. His Sagather gold is also in front. Okay, I didn't see that. So
archers.
I mean, yeah, he has to go archers, and this is the part where some players adapt a lot better than others. Some players are kind of like, it's very good to do this type of build against them because they might be like, oh, like I'm used to go pro scout and now I can't pro scout, so then you have to go archer range. But then you go archers, but then the horseman arrives, so you're like, oh god, do I have to make a barracks? Do I make cavalry? What do I do? And the game can kind of snowball in a very negative way. And we see School of Cavalry coming out with 6. So he wants to age up fast in order to get the archer. And I'm assuming to continue the gold mining. And on the other side, we see very fast chapel too, right? Even though he went spearman, he does have 5 on the age up. And I think this is the case where getting that early wheelbarrow might have worked against him because the age ups will be almost exactly the same. Which is not the place you want to be after someone barracks rushes you.
Now, the good thing I would say for Cat's side here is he got a lot of sheep. So him not being able to go for those professional scouts early on that most people would like to do, he has a lot of sheep that will last him a little bit of a lifetime here. So he will be able to have enough food for quite a while. That is going to be a very fed army. But let's go see if Myriad tries to make a play for those deer all around the map himself. The deer spawns, though, a little bit all over the place here, especially on Cat's side. He is going to be able to defend those if push comes to shove. Now, what is your prediction? Do we see a pro scout here from Myriad, or do we just see pure... Okay. So I was going to say pure aggression, but
even if he didn't want to, with the amount of sheep that he has gotten, he has to. So I don't think he really has a choice there. And we saw that he was inspiring specifically the gold villagers, which means that with 3 on gold, that is enough to get pro scouting. Is that a tower going up with the gold?
Oh, observer! Show us the gold, please, sir! Please! There was a tower trying to get up, and he did get one up. The spearman one of them will pay with his life, but he did scare a villager away from it. Cat wants his gold back. He says...
Cat is wild. Okay, I did not expect he's going to pull 8 villagers and build a tower, but there it is, and I don't think Myriad did either, because if he did, he would have Spearman there preventing that immediately. So Cat will go back on the gold, but this is kind of the power of HRE, right? So if you look at this game and you were not told the Spearman rush happened, you're kind of like, oh, French is in a pretty bad spot because HRE is already researching pro scouting. French is making scouts. There is no knight presence. And already, I think Myriad is looking like he is in a pretty good spot. We see another staple, so he's not opting for an archer range. He says, you know what?
Scouts, baby.
I'm
and
just
double
gonna kill you with
scout queued
scouts.
up. He is going to go for those deer as quickly as possible. You don't want to give that over to HRE, because when HRE gets those beautiful scouts drop off that food under the chapel, you are in for a very tough time. Spearman now being made upgraded as well. And professional scouts almost done for Myriad. He doesn't have a lot of scouts in position to be able to do anything yet. He's got a singular 1 on the field. And we'll see if he's going to be able to go and snack on one of the deer from Cat's side. We call this a good little yoink. But what we talked about a little bit earlier, guys, is the fact that French has that faster villager production. And we can see exactly that. Cat is slowly going to start getting more and more vills than Myriad. And Myriad does have that eco advantage at the start because of the chapel, but he needs to be careful. Cat can scale this. He just needs to get enough food back to the home. Now, Myriad does do the first yoink of the game. The Spearman getting into position to deny any of Cat's scouts to try and get his own. Now, Cat's scouts being a little bit spicy, a little bit idle right now, waiting. They have not realized that they've finally realized they're allowed to pick up those deer. The upgrade has kicked in. And the first knight, though, is looking for a snack.
Yeah, and I really like so far, like I said, Myriad's position, if he continues making spears and just running them around, it becomes pretty annoying for the French player to deal with. But in this case, what Myriad needs to realize is this is double stable knight. So if this was the standard kind of knight into after a little bit you go archers, then you kind of need archers to run everywhere and kill the spearmen. But with double knight, your army is very mobile. So you can kind of go from deer pack to deer pack and just mow down all the spearmen because there's usually going to be like 1 or 2 at a time. And if you do that, then you kind of open yourself up to, oh, there's the villagers chilling. They're like, bring me the food.
Yeah, they were on strike there. They're like, we are not doing anything until I get fed a good old deer carcass. Delicious.
Yeah, and let's see. So there's the knights. Now, this is not yet, I feel like, big tell enough. It's only 3 knights. Now, if he sees like 2 more coming out all of a sudden, that might be big of a tell. He does pick up a knight, loses 4 spearmen, I think, for it. So not the greatest trade, but killing a knight always feels good. And the longer this game goes, he needs to realize, oh, there is actually no archers. Because one of the mistakes that you can make is misreading it instead to make horsemen. But you're
and then
like
he
that.
makes it, yeah.
Oh, he's double stable too.
He's double stable, wanted to get a lot of scouts out, but now with the horsemen, this is going to be a very tough trade against Cat's army, because we can see here, Cat actually getting ranged armor in all of this. Does this tell us he's going to try to dive pretty soon?
Yeah, I mean, especially the woodline being in the front is so easy to just do like go around the woodline and try to poke the villagers. What's interesting is, I've noticed this, and someone recently pointed this out. With the increase of the pro scouting meta, players are scouting a lot less. So I don't know, was that you?
That was me.
Okay.
I said because of pro scouting,
yeah, people
scouting
don't
stopped
scout.
being pro.
Right. So people don't scout as much, and you can see the example right here. Myriad is just going autopilot. He's getting spearmen. He's getting horsemen, and there is no archers. So the funny thing is, Cat doesn't see the horsemen yet. I think he might be hiding them from Cat to do like a surprise when the archers come, but there is no archers. So this is the part where you're trying to be a 5-head and mind game your opponent, but it's actually a quarter-head. But you didn't know, right? So this is how the meta changes. This is how people play. And now we see, because Cat doesn't see horsemen, he's going into archers. So the Myriad, in the end, the horsemen will be useful.
Oh, Myriad did stop making horsemen when he realized, hey, there are only knights.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a little bit confusing for both of them with like what's happening. Like, Cat will come out with archers because there's no horsemen, and then he will arrive, and now he sees the horsemen. He's like, wait, why do you have horsemen? I didn't make any archers. So.
But with those horsemen, he actually does see that the archers have joined the party. He's like, oh, okay, we do have a use for them. He tries to get us around on the knight, and the thing is now, with chivalry kicking in for Cat, this is going to be such an important thing for Myriad to do. He needs to kill those knights, because without killing them, they're just going to regen and be spicy again. And that's exactly why we get +1 range defense, because those boys, they want to dive, and they're getting some victims at it. These villagers running for their lives. We get some falling down, and unfortunately, because of some destruction, so many knights are just able to snack on these vills. The spearmen out of position. They're trying to fight for the villagers, but so many went down. 21 idle right now. 4 villagers lost in this, and honestly, I thought there would be more casualties.
And none of the knights died. And that's why, kids, you get +1 range armor.
And this is also why, kids, we don't let knights run freely into our base. We also make a tiny wall there.
Yeah, a little wall would do quite a bit there. And we saw in Cat's base, I think there's triple archer range right now and double stable. Yep. And so he is fully committing to this. He's saying, you know what, I'm going for it. I'm putting pressure. On the other side, Myriad has a different idea. Now, both ideas are cool, but it's the question is, can Myriad actually hold this push? Because if he manages to hold, he'll get the access to knights, to potentially men-at-arms, or just upgrades his unit in general. Now, the problem with HRE and the forward chapel that I was talking about, all his gear is under the chapel, which is basically unavailable for gathering right now.
And now the villagers are running back and forth. They're trying to find a goal in life. More dying under the chapel. It looks like this is a distraction, but we can see the back gold finally giving Myriad a place where he can go, but more villagers will be falling. 7 total at this point, and Myriad says, I need to do something about this, and the only thing I think I can do is try and cut off the reinforcements. Spearmen now, the tower will stay up, but the horsemen are going to be able to get on top of those archers. The problem is the spearmen might be targeted anyway. Now, this is a pretty good army here for Myriad, but he cannot go out too far, and that's exactly what he does. Those spearmen trying to impale everything they can, but it doesn't look like things are going too well for him.
Yeah, and the thing in all this, he did not have +1 ranged armor, so all this diving, like you said, he overextended quite a bit, and he did not have +1 ranged armor. This is sometimes you get baited against these archer armies, you're like, oh my god, I'm going for it, I'm going to commit, and then you don't manage to actually kill all the units, and on retreat, oh my god. And on retreat, you just get picked off more and more, and right now this is not looking good for Myriad. There is 13 villagers killed. The chapel is right now on fire, and mine work seems pretty good here to me.
It feels like this is the hill you're going to be dying on. And it feels like with Myriad now, he's just asking himself, do I continue? Do I go fight for my... Look at that nice little wall his villagers have chopped as well. They're going on a trip. And I don't know where they're going, but they are cleaning out in a line. It's the safest wood line they can find. Myriad, though, he's getting his own knights of this spicy variety, but the problem is 2 knights aren't going to cut it against that many French ones. We see another tower coming up for Mr. Cat. Oh, Mr. Myriad. He's trying to hold on for dear life, but 14 dead villagers and more French knights about to come into your base. This is where you realize, hey, I can probably not take this. The knights arrive at the gold. The boys will not live to tell the tale. And this is just another full idle economy. Myriad realizes, hey, I'm cooked, I would say.
Yeah, it is not looking good. The villagers are running. Well, what's left of them? There's not a lot of villagers, but those that are in the game, they are running. And they do have wheelbarrow, so you got to look at the positives. You know, they're running faster than they could. And he's just clapping one by one. Myriad not looking happy about that one. And
now,
Cat goes up 2-0.
This is the issue with a best of 5 right now. This is match point. Cat probably feeling pretty happy here. And Myriad, this is
probably
where the pressure comes. Yeah, probably not. Well, that's a really good deduction there, sir. No, but Myriad knows this is where the pressure's on. He needs to decide, okay, where do I go from here? Do I actually try to commit to my original game plan, or am I going to need to be a little bit spicy to handle the meow? His cat, he's got his kitty claws
what
out.
was that?
It's a cat noise.
Jesus, what kind of cat have you seen?
It's like a cat that's in the middle of a fight.
All right. Anyway, I don't know. That's when I heard that, I was like, "What is going on? Are you?" And we see Cat is on fire. Look at this, 339 APM.
Did we actually
proof that more APM equals wins games?
Yeah.
Just saying.
This is literally correlation. Oh, yeah.
I know where you're going.
Causation. Yeah.
So there you go, guys. It's proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is in the screen. So.
And the pudding is the APM. So
2-0 up. Where do you go here for this Myriad? I mean, you lost Atrid, lost Byzantine. This is where I go, uh-oh. See, that's not good.
I'm looking at the maps that are left, and I don't feel like Myriad's the kind of guy who would pick, any water shenanigans on a thing that's high risk like this.
Maybe he doesn't want to go out for a swim, although cats are not very good in water.
I was about to say that. We'll see if this is actually a swimmy cat or if it's a house cat.
As a cat person or a cat facts person, some cats do actually hunt in water. The jaguar.
Yeah. Okay. And
they hunt. There's that cat that eats crocodiles. I think jaguar actually.
Jaguar.
Or cheetah. One of those.
Cheetahs.
Great swimmers. Some cats are great swimmers. Okay. Tigers love water, for example. Well, and some hunt in water. So I don't know what we still don't know what type of cat it is. We asked the production; they don't know either. So if we do have 4 legs, we'll kind of see how good he is there. Okay,
Right.
we are getting some confirmation from Twitch chat. Jaguars do hunt crocodiles in water, so there you go. That's a fact.
Thank
I
you,
told you
Twitch
guys
chat.
I'm a cat fact person. If you
Yeah.
don't believe me, fact check me in Twitch chat. Now the interesting thing is do we have any map with a lot of stealth force? Because Myriad would do well there.
Why? Because he has very nice glasses, or
No, because he's a drop bear.
he's a drop for it.
So I think he would do like High View, probably his favorite map. I would imagine.
You mean Pigeon's View? We're in a tournament setting, please.
Well, either one of those. I think he would do really well in, and he's looking focused. He's looking like I'm about to drown you.
The cat looks like
I'm about to make a fishing ship. That's the face of him.
you're really wanting this water, though.
He's like, I'm
But
making a look.
cats
He's
do
making
like
a dock. I
fish.
can see it in his face.
That is a very
Okay,
weird
that's
dock.
the wrong screen. Come on.
Come
We're
on,
supposed
guys!
to be
I
on 4
think we're
legs.
in the wrong game here. Where are the where's the water?
See, this is the thing. Maybe Myriad has more information on cat. Maybe
Yeah.
he found out throughout the series what kind of cat he is. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going in the water.
He's actually a catfish.
Wow.
Yeah. He was like, I'm a catfish. And Myriad saw right through him. He knew. I'm dealing with a catfish here. I'm not going to put him on the water. I want to keep that one in my pocket.
Well, he
So-
has to go in water eventually.
Yeah.
If he wins here, the water is coming because if our assumptions are correct, that means the cat is Jaguar and he will be picking 4 legs next.
But if he is a catfish, they do require water to survive, and he could have kept him out on the dry land for so long that he's not going to be able to survive on water. I feel like we're really going deeply into the story. I'm really invested. But Gorge, though. Gorge is the map of dreams when you have 2 scouts. And that's
I
what
got
Cat has.
stunned right there.
You got stunned.
I'm back though.
You're back. Welcome
Yeah.
back. Welcome back, guys. This is the Garrison, and we're ready to run into match point between Cat and Myriad. Jean against China. And as we know, people have been sleeping a little bit on the JD, but the Chinese pick, a very common one. Nobody is surprised on this civilization getting a nice little priority on something like Gorge. Gorge is definitely a map where most civilizations flourish, and China can flourish on multiple of these. Very, very happy to get a pick like that. What is that?
Oh, wow.
What is Jean is building from the other side? I was about to say, what is she cooking? Myriad, though, he's going to be a hungry boy.
Yeah, I mean, two scouts versus 1, especially being Chinese scouts having extra vision. I would even say sometimes that's the good number from what you can sometimes get. So it is going to be 14 versus 5, which means there's 1 more sheep somewhere.
I mean,
hiding. Oh, yoink.
He got him.
Okay, there we
He
go.
got him. I
So 15 versus 5, not the greatest look for Myriad. That's going to be a pretty rough one. But look at the bright side. He found some sheep, and he's playing a civ that will go pro scouts. So he's got that going for him. And this is another matchup that, 2 very strong civs, 2 very strong land civs. So Myriad does have a pretty good fighting chance. This is not the days of the old where China was beating French constantly. I think JD has a pretty good shot here, so we'll see how the deer carrying goes this time around.
Beasty, you have to keep in mind, when we see anyone going on berries outside of the berry civilization at this point of the game, you are a little bit worried for them, right? Because Myriad now, he's ran out of sheep under his TC. He needs to get these delivered, and eventually they do arrive home. But some of those villagers, they were standing a little bit around trying to find something to do. But luckily, he does have enough food for when the age-up comes through to instantly queue up that first knight. So we'll see where that knight is going to be running straight towards. We see the knight in queue, and this is going to be an harassment Myriad against the kitty cat, and see if the kitty cat is actually going to let him get close enough to do some damage. That's the problem with Gorge, right? With the knight coming his way, he's going to be able to harass the gold quite easily, as our wonderful observer is showing us. But the question is, what then? You're playing against a civilization that has imperial officials. They don't need to mine gold. They just think about them and take it from the citizens via tax.
They just yoink that
Yoink.
money. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Melee or range JD?
Against China, well, I'm feeling a ranged one, actually.
Really?
I'm feeling it, but that might just be because I'm trash. and not coming from a
No,
place
I'm
of...
just asking.
No,
Like,
no,
I've been seeing a lot more range JD
Yeah.
recently. Like even in matchups where I would kind of think melee is better, I think it's one of those. It's like, would I rather have melee JD that does more damage, or
Yeah.
would I have range that doesn't die?
The thing about range JD, I feel like she gets protected really easily by what Myriad Civilization naturally does, is make very chunky units. So with Myriad being on JD, he's gonna be okay defending her for a while, unless Cat is a spicy boy and makes a ton of spears. The problem is just she gets to poke those down pretty easily. Spears now gonna be joining the party. Barracks finally plopped down here by Cat. This is going to mean that those 2 singular scouts are going to need to do the majority of the pro scouting. Myriad, though, getting his 5th scout already, he's going to be wanting to snack the deer from all sides of the map.
Yeah, the pro scouting game has begun right now, and we'll see who gets the better end of things. We do see Spearman coming, melee JD. That's going to be joining. The good part about melee JD at this point in the game is you can actually just go in 3 spears and just be like, what's up, and just slap them around. The bad part is once the Zuginu come out, or crossbows, she's
toast.
Boom boom, and then she's resurrecting at the TC like a vampire. You just can't kill her. She just keeps coming back. So it kind of becomes a game of like, can you keep the melee JD alive? In theory, it's better. If you can keep her alive, she can do a lot more damage. But then later on, range 1 becomes great for sniping siege. She actually one-shot Springles is level 3. Oh, -1.
That poor scout, he wanted to serve his purpose, and he got a deer a little bit further away from the TC, so other scout will be picking it up. But those 3 spears showing that JD needs to be around to actually secure the yoink. And like we said, you want to yoink as much as you can from your opponent. Right now, Cat only now getting those 2 extra ones, but him going for his own yoink on the other side of the map. 2 successful yoinks from Cat, but he needs to be careful about the route there. There's another knight coming from the base, and we'll see if he tries to intercept. Myriad's not the kind of guy that's going to sleep on the spawns.
Yeah, and there's 2 different types of JD style. You can go for pure knights and try to do some kind of faster age up into royal bloodlines, or you can just do the standard knight archer. So we're gonna see, can we take a little peek at Myriad's base to see if he had added any yeah, so it is double knight for now. Now we might see archers, kind of like what Cat did last game, so you might do double archer range after, but for now it looks a lot of knights, and we see horsemen already, so this is, I feel like we're seeing, it's exactly the same thing from the last game, except the players have switched in what they're doing. So if Myriad recognizes, oh, you're actually making horses, you can just continue making knights, or even potentially better, you can go into spearmen.
I was actually going to ask that because I think we've seen quite archers as the answer. Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Now, is it going to play out the same way? Now, what my biggest question is here, is this not just such a good position for Myriad to go for that mass knight composition that we've seen from some players that is absolutely destructive? Once you get enough of a number and just run over absolutely everything. JD getting into the middle of everything.
Ooh,
she stomps on the ground. She gets a lot of damage, but it's still a little bit dangerous. She needs to be careful here. The knights, they do go in. They do a little bit of damage. JD going to be getting a first horseman kill, and she's still very much alive. The knights, they did get poked a little bit, but nothing a little heal cannot fix.
Yeah, those spearmen are very close to dying. So JD got the Q ability off twice, which means that those spearmen will die from a charge plus auto. So that is potentially a lot of snacking for the JD experience. We see barbecue right there being prepared. Uh-oh, if the spearmen run in again and she Qs them, that will be bad news for him. And you can see how he wants to kill JD, but he also does not want to get Q ability on his whole spearman. So it's kind of a funny one where you look at so many spearmen and he's trying to run away. And yeah, if these units die, that's going to be a lot of experience. So look at that. These are so squishy. Myriad's microing really well.
Just with that singular archer, he's just trying to poke down those last of the spearmen here. Oh, and another one, and another one.
That's my fault, I jinxed him.
Okay. She is loving this fight. The archer going down onto the horses. She does get surrounded, though. Myriad does have a lot of gold in the bank, so he will be able to bring her back, but she got a decent chunk of experience. I wouldn't say worth it, but definitely not the worst situation for him to lose JD to.
So if you're in this situation as JD, even though that didn't look good, he lost a knight and he lost JD. 3 knights are like 4 knights are actually super low. He needs to get the healing upgrade immediately because he's gonna get value from that. Now, what the good part is about this for Myriad is that because he killed so many units, China has to stay in feudal for a little bit longer. So if he didn't do any damage, Cat can just be like, you know what, I got 10, 15 spearmen, I got 5, 6, 7 horses, I'll just age up and there's not much you can do about it. So this way you kind of force him to make some more units, and we see Zuganu coming. Now these might be defensive, or he might actually be committing to just full-on feudal fighting, and this is the part where that JD is going to have a lot more trouble staying alive. And if you look, there is no JD on the screen.
Yeah, he has not committed to buying her back, deciding on getting a wheelbarrow instead, making sure his villagers can run extra fast. The knights trying to find a little bit of damage. They do get a poke down on a village or two, but the Barbican will provide a level of protection. With that amount of villagers that you see standing there on gold, thinking about their actions for a little while, they do signify something, and that's either getting a lot of upgrades pretty quickly or thinking about going to castle. And with the resources we see here from Cat, castle is not off the table. He's definitely hinting that way. Myriad, on the other hand, he also has a lot of villagers there on gold, so he gets to make that decision, that responsible castle if he wanted to, but instead going for chivalry. So chivalry going to allow those low HP knights actually to heal up a little bit. But with the amount he has in gold, he should be able to follow suit once he sees that the castle is coming himself. Now, the Zuganu are getting their ranged upgrades now, so they are going to hit a little bit harder, but 11 knights against what Cat has? I feel like Myriad is very interesting timing here. You can see the army value is telling us a story, and it's a story of destruction if we are not careful.
The demon is back from the dead. Now,
oh my gosh.
The interesting part is he does not have +1 range armor, and there is Zuganu on the field, so that JD will definitely feel how hard the Zuganu can hit. Astronomical clock tower coming up, so not only he has the TC that shoots very, very strong bullets, he also has barbecue right there next to it, so that's going to be very, very good for him. +1 range armor coming from Cat, so Cat is now just holding and waiting to kind of get attacked, and as long as he manages to defend that, he will be in a pretty decent spot. But at the same time, you know, Myriad does have almost an age up, so he did not commit to feudal completely. He can poke a little bit, but he does not need to fully go all in and try to do some massive, massive damage, because he will be aged up very, very soon as well. And if we look at their units, going into the castle, if they both upgrade, Myriad definitely has better units. Knights and archers versus spearmen and Zuganu long run, you definitely want to have knights.
Now those knights are also going to be extra chunky, going for the Royal Institute. The problem is the gold. Now, Myriad, I believe, is almost running out of gold in his base as well, and we need to think about where he moves out to next. So he's going to need to go out to get the gold for these upgrades. Now, with 11 knights, you're in a pretty decent position. You're going to be able to get that veterancy. You might even be able to think about the next ones as well, but Myriad probably doesn't want to risk anyone's life just yet. He needs to be very, very careful, especially with still no military upgrades, and the Zuganu are getting +2 at this point.
Yeah, so he's getting a lot of units. We see Cat now going for some knights with crossbows, so he's just fully transitioning to gold units. And at this point, the game becomes who runs out of food first. So obviously there's going to be gold issues for both players soon, but whoever runs out of gold first, if you're playing this kind of very active game on the map, running out of gold first means you have to go out on the map, not only for gold, but for food as well, which means that knights, horsemen, whatever, are going to have a field day and be able to harass everywhere, which does favor Myriad at this point. So Myriad is going to have a more mobile army, and Cat is going to have a more just stronger army and fighting straight up if these unit compositions continue.
I absolutely love the fact that Myriad's getting +1 attack instead of defense. It shows how committed he is to doing damage. I don't know if this is the smartest choice, but it is the ballsiest choice in this case.
Yeah, and we see Cat is out of food, so he will be going on berries. Now JD should have food, yep. And the reason he still has food is because he has consecration on his building, so he's actually using a lot less food than Cat is. And that's kind of the good side and the problem with China. You are dropping off more resources with the Imperial officials, but you're also eating a lot more food because of your town center producing faster. So, we'll see. Mir's kind of poking around. Maybe he's looking if there are some villagers. You can see him going on those berries there. Ooh, that's a very nice pickoff. Picking off the first Monk is actually very, I feel like, underrated, but that first Monk doesn't get 1 relic, usually gets 2. So he basically delayed / denied 2 relics with that, and JD's... JD?
She's a little bit aggressive, girl. Go back. Up. He wanted her to. Oh, you can see that face.
Oh my
He's
god, his
confused.
face. He's like, what the
What the
hell?
hell? Where did that happen?
What did you do there? Because the archers went back, and I think they were in same hotkey. That was very funny, the reaction. So
He probably
Reka.
A-moved them back.
It's a disaster.
The Lancer. Oh no, he's going to notice these villagers. The villagers don't even have a drop-off point. The Lancer, he's going to be snacking on everything in his path.
Wow, Cat's doing some walling on the bottom. I mean, this is like the worst possible thing that can happen to you. You just got the boar, you don't have a tower, and 1 Lancer arrives and just not only denies that, but kills a lot of villagers. The knights are, oh my god, wake up, knights.
Knights.
Wrong way.
Myriad looking a little bit frustrated with himself there. You can see the face moving as things are happening. And that's the problem with these tournament settings. You're playing on a stage where a lot of people are cheering for you. A lot of people are sitting there watching you. The pressure is on, and you know that there's a very spicy boy about to come to your base. Now, that just means that all that pressure can easily let you make mistakes. So even though you're watching this at home and you're like, I'll never do that, yes, you do. And we're all sitting there at the pressure of our own opponent, knowing Cat has lances. You now have to think about, where is he going to strike next?
Yeah, and so far, Cat is doing a lot better job raiding. I mean, Myriad has a lot of knights. He hasn't been super active with them. Sometimes you get in your own head and you're like, okay, well, I can't really raid anything. He has a Barbican, so I'm just going to chill back. And Cat is kind of using that to full advantage there. Just if you look at the army difference now, they were somewhat equal earlier, and JD has not been brought back once again, by the way. So that consecration stacks, they're not going, so his economy advantage as far as that goes is not going up. The Lancers are back, and you can see Myriad shaking his head a little bit. He is not enjoying that, and the villagers are going down, now 9 gone. Relics are not being gathered by Myriad, so this is Cat's game to lose from here on out.
And that just shows the difference with China being in Song Dynasty. When you have that Song Dynasty, your villager production is so much faster, and he's just capitalizing on exactly that. He's gotten so many more villagers. He's picked off 9 by this point. So in essence, this is just going to make it so hard for Myriad to get back in this. Myriad was the one who was going to raid. Myriad was the one who was going to need to keep Cat on his toes. But instead, Cat, he took out those kitty claws, and he is fighting no matter what, even on the map that Myriad chose.
Yeah, do we actually have royal bloodlines? Can we check that on the knights?
I think we just got a production nod there from
Okay,
Cal.
he does. Okay, I missed that. So he does have them +1 range arm is now coming, and there is a lot of crossbows and a lot of Suginu. So he has a lot of archers, but 24 archers is not enough against this army. And this is a position where he kind of has to do something, but I just don't think he has enough units. He will try, he will attempt. That JD, you can see she's running off to the side. She doesn't want to get one shot. And he will try to do some pressure, and Cat, oh my god, another raid just comes in, and that is, I mean, even if he goes into the tower, that is so much idle time. And this is a point where you get pushed into just commit fully to try and do something, but I just don't see it working out. JD goes down for the 3rd time, and that is not a fun time.
Myriad now showing us that the pressure has gotten to him. Controlling all of these types of units in one group is so difficult. With the Lancers raiding, Cat is playing to his cat-like reflexes, using that advantage of being so damn fast, getting Lancers all around the map. We see villagers in shambles running everywhere, but somehow we've missed it. Myriad killed a ton of villagers on Cat's side.
Wow, 12 villagers going down. I mean, pretty good. And now the economy does look like there's a big difference. There's a lot of idle time, but with the consecration, it's not that big of a difference. The bigger issue is the idling, and as you can see right there, villagers are running right, villagers are running left. There's more idle on that big gold happening, and the big push is happening through the middle, so just being put under pressure from all sides, and this is going to be it for Myriad. He either manages to defend this. There's 2 knights in the back, though, and the granary is farming. They're snacking right now, 1 by 1, so he needs to do something here. JD levels up, and if he manages to catch up this army, and get a good engagement, he will not only get a lot of XP. JD, please!
JD is taking so much damage, and if she goes down, that's a 1,000 gold. Wait, 500? 500 gold unit to bring back. That is so expensive. But her heroes have joined the party, and we can see them running forward. They're going to be dealing with any spears coming their way, but the Knights don't mind the spears either. They say, hey, we are of the Imperial variety. Let me take you on. But Myriad doing an absolute amazing job at trying to equalize this villager count, and he did exactly what Cat did to him. He raided.
I really, I think right now Myriad is doing a very good job. Yeah, that's a lot of idle, and he killed 23 villagers. So we saw 12, and I think he mowed down the whole granary there. So he's doing a very good job. And right now, it's all about who can continue producing units. So both players need to attack the other one where the food is, because they're both struggling. You see 500 food per minute versus 800. And I would say what I really liked about Cat's play is all the raiding he did with Knights, but you cannot continue fighting Knights into Knights with Royal Bloodlines. So I think he maybe needs to consider transitioning to something else. The crossbows are a great choice. Myriad, JD should be back soonish. She is still gone, but I think she's going to res any moment if my timings are not super off. Still no +2 range armor and range attacks for Myriad, and that's because all the pressure that's been going on the map.
Now, those lancers do go down pretty quickly. The archer's also starting to tickle them, but the villagers are out here on the map, and Cat is going to be able to punish and pick off whenever he wants. We see that Cat says, I know what I did earlier, and I know I can do it again, so I'm going to go and raid. And he's about to find more villagers. This is some of Myriad's last food. He's trying to run, get back from this. Some of these guys will escape, but we see the gold villagers also running for their lives. And again, Cat is just on top of Myriad everywhere.
Yeah, he's doing really good raids. He's just committing to this crossbow knight attack. He does have 3 relics. Myriad is right now taking back 1. This JD is also back, but oh, she is sending it. She's basically doing that thing, and when you have an ally in League of Legends that dies once, he just runs it down middle, and he says, I don't care, and he just keeps running into a tower. That's what she just did there. So she will be going down for, I think, 5th or 6th time, so not a lot of XP gain for her. Even if he wins this fight, I think there's just too much economy difference right now for Cat, and the crossbows and Knights keep coming in. Myriad calls it, and it will be a 3-0 in the end.
I feel like, yes, this was a 3-0, but it felt like Myriad did put up a decent fight here. The problem is, when you're in a tournament where it's so easy to fall out after 2 straight losses, it's just, it's quite hard. Cat is showing us that he wants to fight, and now he needs to go take on another big fish later. Now, I'm honestly...
But good thing is, cats love fish.
Yeah. And he's ready for any fish being thrown his way.
That's right.
They don't like to fish themselves,
right?
But he's ready for it. He actually came here, and he's like, I would like to fish.
Actually, one of their favorite food is fish.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Fun
I think
fact.
that's probably a favorite matchup for Cat, if that is the case. And Cat will later be playing against none other than my GOAT, Killardi.
Now, I saw you and Killardi cooking for a little bit there. Can you tell me what was happening there behind the scenes? These 2 boys were in cahoots looking at Age of Empires games. Do you want to give us some insight on what's cooking behind the scenes?
Okay, let me give you a quick rundown. He told me mine work sucks and I shouldn't build it. He told me French and JD are not that good. He was mentioning something that the size of his brain doesn't exist quite in AoE4. It's because he's old that it's kind of holding him back.
Yeah, I don't
he
know.
says he sometimes plays and just like falls asleep during the game, so you kind of like, you know, when you're tired and you're driving and
that's why he doesn't like night civilizations, because he will chase in and he'll just forget about them.
He just forgets about stuff. He does that. Sometimes he takes a quick nap. We do have people to keep him awake here, but
they're working overtime at the moment.
Now, what his plan is for the actual series, I don't know. I mean, I would assume he watched these games to see, you know, what can I do? What is his style? But I think overall these games were pretty straightforward. Like, I didn't see anything super like, oh, let me, you know, write that down. Let me take a note of that. He just played pretty standard pro scouting games, just fighting. So Killardi is a bit wild. Yes. I would say Myriad is more standard. Killardi is a bit wild, so you can definitely cook up something there with another Killardi build.
So with Giliardi coming in hot, next match we have Cat coming in hot with his cat-like reflexes, ready to give you guys the best interview of your day. Mr. Cat, take over the headset.
All right. So first question, I have a very important one. Since your ID is cat, what kind of cat are you?
Puma.
Are you a house cat? Are you a wild cat? Which
Puma.
wild cat? You're Puma? Okay. Are they good in water or no? Actually, don't know.
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
Good in
Okay.
snow.
Sorry?
Good in snow.
Okay. So, well, we don't have snow maps yet, but when that comes out, the meta will kind of shift towards your favor. So, the games against Myriad, we had Byzantine versus Delhi. There was a lot of fighting. He didn't actually lose any villagers, but it was pretty straightforward. Did you feel pretty comfortable in that game? Were you worried at any point that it's kind of going to turn around? What did you think of longbows as well?
Yeah, I felt pretty confident in this matchup. I think if I just play like safe, like the later game goes, the better for me. Maybe I didn't play perfect. Like I could take more map control earlier and stuff, take a better fights. But I was just like sitting back, playing safe, and it worked.
Yeah. There's so many archers, and he microed his longbows quite well, but there was nothing for the elephants, and they kind of just tanked a lot of damage. Then the second game, we had HRE versus French. Now, were you expecting that he will do a spearman opener, and that's why you wanted to get wheelbarrow and age up, or were you just like, I'm getting wheelbarrow no matter what?
Yeah, I was expecting him going spearman.
Okay, because you went with 6 on gold, so I was like, okay.
I mean, I scouted.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So after that, Chapel in the front. How do you feel about mine work in that matchup from H3 side?
Mine work in this matchup? I don't know.
You don't like it? Not a mine work enjoyer?
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
All right. And then the last game we had, we had JD versus China. Yeah, JD died quite a few times. And at some points it kind of got close with the villager kills going all around, but I think the raids that you did were pretty good in general. Do you think JD in the current meta has its place and has its timings, or do you think it's more like a pick to counter something else?
No, I think it's a very solid Civ. Especially it's very good in the late game. Against JD, I always feel like pressured. I need to do stuff. Because like if I go 1 hour game, I'm fully dead. Like
okay, so you're actually more scared of JD in the long games. Okay. Well, that's it for the question for the series. Regarding your next series, it will be against Giliardi. How do you feel about that one? How do the games go between you guys? Are you confident? Are you worried?
I feel excited. I always like playing against Giliardi. It's always like tough match, tough set. We go like fight. Sometimes I win, sometimes he wins. But it's always fun. And we're gonna see today whose day it is.
Okay, so last question for you. Is this your first LAN, or did you go before?
Big one, kind of first. But I played some games in Moscow, in CIS1. But this feels very different, to be honest.
Okay,
like,
are
way
you...
more production, way more people.
Yeah, are you feeling nervous when you play like on stage, or are you kind of over that and you don't mind it?
I'm kind of surprised. It's not that bad as I thought to play on stage. Like,
yeah.
I'm feeling okay on the stage.
Yeah, that's good. Because a lot of players, I think, when they play, they kind of get nervous. You don't play your own game, so...
Usually when I play not on my computer, I'm fully tilted. I can't play if I have like something not good.
Yeah.
But here it feels like alright. Kinda nervous, kinda like strange, but it's okay.
All right, so we'll be seeing you later against Giliardi. Best of luck. The next match, if I am not mistaken, will be Demu versus Baltoon.
Thank you.
Good luck in your next match, and we'll be seeing that one next. I'm excited to see who's going to come on top. They already played, so who knows what the result will be and what they have planned.